I know the fact that I'm standing here today is a direct result of being blessed to be surrounded by great people. And as I said when I first came up here, the biggest concern for me is not to get emotional. It's been a tremendous 16-year journey here at Brother Martin, and our last 4 years as a family has been an emotional roller coaster. Some of the things I was going to talk about today, Mr. Gallagher has already mentioned, but on Monday, December 2nd, 2019, it'll be a day that I'll always remember for as long as I live. Some of you may remember it, I know I'll never forget it. But it's the first time and only time in 16 and a half years that my wife was actually right in an argument. Only time. Like Mr. Gallagher said, it was a Monday final, a tough semifinal loss to Rommel. And my wife nagged me, and everybody who's been married for more than 5 to 10 years knows what that means, nagged you. Coach Stewart, you'll eventually know what that's like. But she nagged me into going to the hospital or going to the urgent care. She said she felt that something was wrong with me, more so than usual. Approximately 5 hours later, I found myself, after complaining all day, I found myself in a hospital. And with my dad present, I know he'll never forget this, and I'm not exaggerating this at all. The doctor proceeded to tell me the following life-changing words. He says, Mr. Bonis, you have suffered an ascending aortic dissection. You have to undergo emergency surgery, and there's a really good chance that you're not going to make it. I'm not exaggerating, he told that to my dad and myself. And the crazy thing is that I laid there, I was calm, but I laid there in reflection and prayer. And I kept quiet all the way until I met the strangers that were going to perform that surgery on me. And I know this, there's no accidents. That team of 16 people were there for a reason. But immediately prior to being administered anesthesia, I told the team this. I said, I'm 40 years old. I don't have many regrets. I have a wife that I love. I have 2 daughters that I adore. I have a special needs child that needs me. And I have a team to coach. Please pray with me and do all that you can to save my life. I tell that story because since that day, I know I've been truly blessed. Because of that, I strive to express my gratitude and thankfulness as much as possible. And I try to make the most out of all of my opportunities. Don't want to take anything for granted because you never know. One day you wake up, okay, then you never know what's going to happen by the end of the day. So my goal for the day is this. I want to take the opportunity to specifically recognize those people who have helped mold me into the person that I am today. And to thank those who work side by side with me on a daily basis that assist our young men strive to achieve our standard of excellence. So all of you that I talk about today and talk to everybody here, I'm forever grateful for how you all have impacted my life, and I hope that you know I love each and every one of you. I'd like to first start with my high school head football coach, Coach Mark Saunders. Got my water here in case I need it. I'm trying to prevent myself from being emotional, but thank you for serving as a father figure. Not just when I played for you, but all the way until now, until today. I can't thank you enough for all the experiences and involvement in my life that you've been a part of. Remember the day that you named me your team, your football team captain? I remember calling you when I was coaching tight ends at Sam Houston State and talking offensive line play. I remember that proud moment of sitting in that same office that you sat in when I was first named head football coach at Brother Martin. I remember your head coaching advice. And I remember when you tried shielding me from the pain and heartache that sometimes comes with the territory of being a head coach. I also remember all the heated and ridiculous exchanges that we had with one another when coaching on opposite sidelines. There was a few. I remember all the times you called to check on Rebecca and the baby when times were really tough. And I remember the times that you came and sat with me after my surgery. I tell you this all the time. You're one of the biggest reasons why I choose to do what I do today. And I hope to have at least half of the positive impact on our guys at Brother Martin that you've had on me. Coach Latino, Scott. Thank you for giving me my first opportunity as an educator. Both of you took a chance with me. Man, I was a young college football coach, thinking I knew everything. And I came in, and I can't thank y'all enough for mentoring me from 2003 to 2005. Specifically, Scott, you're one of the best football minds I've ever been around. As a coach, you taught me to think about things differently, and you challenged me to utilize my knowledge of all three sides of the ball. Just as importantly, you introduced me to what a successful football program culture should look like from the top down. Coach Ladd, I remember every one of our conversations about quarterback throw mechanics, still do. As a young coach, I also appreciate every time you treated me to Texas Roadhouse after your home baseball games, which was like every home game for 3 years. So I really appreciate that. I'll never forget about our conversations on coaching dynamics and player-coach relationships. The knowledge that you helped to impart on me at that age was invaluable. Football and coaching aside, even bigger from you and Scott. Thank you for doing something even bigger for me and my family. Thank you for serving as tremendous role models for how to manage life while dealing with family adversity. To be honest, the things that you all have battled through moved me to push forward one times in our family. Got tough. I can't tell you all thank y'all enough for that. And brunch or lunch, it's on me this morning, all right? Trying to catch up. Mr. Trahan, thank you for all that you do. Prep student athletes and coaches all around are blessed to have you and your team cover sports and promote our sports. Thank you for our weekly interviews where you made me sound so much better on my end. I mean, it's miraculous. I'll sit here and talk about a Crusader football creed. I'll sit there and talk about team, tough, compete, finish. I'll talk about being resilient in the face of adversity. I'll talk about the process. And somehow you manage to somehow make me sound really good, and you'll make it very interesting for everybody. I don't know how you do that, but it's truly miraculous. Thank you for helping to improve my faith life. Thank you for always taking such a genuine interest in the health and well-being of everyone in my family. And simply stated, thank you for always being such a great friend. Coach Hebert. Coach Hebert. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do what I love to do in leading our Crusader football team. Coach Williams, Mr. Fleetwood, thank you for being supporters of me when things were not always good, when they were tough. I really appreciate that. I tell you all that all the time. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I would also like to thank those who be with me on a daily basis at Brother Martin. And I apologize if I leave anyone out, but I know Mr. Lemon has me on the clock right now. Dr. Ligo, Mrs. Broussard, Mrs. Gomez, Mrs. Alexander. Kind of lump you all together, Mr. Lynn and Mr. Urson. Mrs. Martinovich, thank you for helping me to create a productive atmosphere and pushing our young men to strive to become the best version of themselves. Mrs. Tawana, I didn't forget about you. Okay. I would like to tell you a special thank you for all the coaching advice over the years. But much more importantly, okay, thank you for allowing me to coach your 3 wonderful and athletic sons. I wish you had 11 to 22 more right now. Mr. Rando, Mr. Gallagher, Coach Wiz, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do what I love to do. Thank you for always at least listening to me when I believe I'm bringing you good ideas. Thank you for caring and treating my family and I as your own. Even more specifically, as you heard today, Mr. Rando, thank you for helping my son Mark mumble his very first 2 words of the indoor facility. It's because of our young men at the school, the mission of the Brothers of the Sacred Heart, and the 3 of you that have chosen to be at our great institution as an honorary alum for the last 16 years. To my staff, wow. Whew. Our young men and I are blessed to have you as coaches. Most people have no earthly idea of what you do in order to teach our young men about life and coach football. They don't know what you miss out on. I know right now y'all are all uncomfortable because I'm talking about you guys, but I want to brag on the things that you do. During the winter and spring months, a lot of you guys are coaching second sports. On top of that, you're spending approximately 20 hours at school on top of your teaching duties. When things begin to ramp up during the summer months, you guys have a total of 11 days off in the middle of the summer to spend with your family, to go on vacation. And finally, once our season begins, you guys spend approximately 40 to 50 additional hours a week at school on top of your teaching duties in order to take care of our young men. I consider each and every one of you part of my family because of this. The values that we share, the time that we all spend together in pursuit of common goals, because of the failure and success we have all shared in throughout that process, and because of the genuine care and concern that you show our players and one another. Personally speaking, you have always been there for my family and I, including at some of our very lowest points. And I hope, Coach O'Day, I hope you know I'm including you in this coaching staff. You and Z were at the hospital with Rebecca and I to console us. Immediately following our conversation with the doctors, when we were told that Mark only had a couple days left to live. John, you constantly checked in with Rebecca while you were holding things together at school when they were still uncertain of my health and well-being. And Aaron, unlike Doc, remember this, unlike Doc, you came to Slidell to sit and chat with me while I was struggling after surgery. While I was in the hospital, the coaching staff picked up my girls from school in the evenings in Slidell. You drove up my power bill because you decorated my house with Christmas lights and Christmas balls. And you all provided me with the necessary football chat that I needed to keep fighting. Thank you for always being there for me, but most importantly, thank you for caring for our kids, our students, in the exact same way. Believe me, it's evident that our young men feel that love, because if you look around today, 5 of our former football players are back here at their alma mater on this very coaching staff. To me, that says a lot about the men that you are and the job that you do. Mom and Dad, thank you for always being present. There hasn't been a time in my life where you have not been there to support me. Thank you for always providing me with the resources I needed in order to attempt to be successful. Thank you for being my biggest fan when I do things right, and my biggest critic when I do things wrong. I do hear a lot of critiquing from mom, I will tell you that. Especially when it comes to parenting. But I mean this when I say this. Both of you are truly my heroes. I can't thank you enough for all the sacrifices that you two have made in your lives in order to always put your children first. Thank you for teaching me that important life lesson and reminding me of it back in 2016. I love you both very dearly. And Dad, on a side note, I really appreciate you hiding Mom's bullhorn and cowbell because you couldn't take the beer with her every day. Rebecca, can't say thank you for being punctual. We know that's not the case. That's new. I didn't have that in here. Thank you for loving me. I know it's tough at times, and having the right words to keep me grounded. For instance, when I came and told you that I was this year's Brother Schaefer Award winner, you told me congrats. Without skipping a beat, in typical Rebecca fashion, you sat there and said, sure took you long enough. So once again, I appreciate you keeping me humble. But all joking aside, looking back, we really have been through quite a lot. 4 years, wow, we've been through a whole bunch. I never really thought about it until I had to write this. Always been very good at compartmentalizing things. But when I look back, to summarize it in 15 quick bullet points, our son Mark was born with a large fallacy. Doctors believe Mark would not survive due to severe pulmonary hypertension. An overnight miracle changed Mark's prognosis. You burned down our kitchen. We spent 7 months in the NICU. After graduating from the NICU, Mark had a pulmonary hypertensive crisis where we used our training to save his life. I would say we, but you wouldn't go in a helicopter, so I was airlifted by emergency helicopter to the PICU, where we spent another 2.5 months. We had to adjust and learn how to live with a child on a trade and event, which split us up on weekends in order to bring the girls to and from soccer and softball tournaments. We traveled to Boston in order to repair Mark's encapsula, but Boston wasn't quite ready for it. Things happened for a reason, because at that time I had an ascending aortic dissection. After recovering and coming home for 3 days, an ambulance had to rush me back to the hospital. While completing cardiac therapy at home, I had to save Mark from an emergency respiratory crisis. Boston wasn't ready for us, and Mark's surgery was once again pushed back due to COVID. Mark and Boston were finally ready for one another, and surgery was a success. Mark was weaned off his vent, and his trach was capped. Mark's larynx surgery was on, off, then on again, which finally resulted in his trach being removed. I know this, if we were on one of those reality TV shows that you watch, okay, people would have thought our lives were dead, or this whole thing was scripted. I do know this though, they would have enjoyed our daily family exchanges and our daily family dynamics. But through it all, with the help of both our parents and our village of supporters, which are a lot of you here, we somehow managed to survive the madness, we made the most out of our circumstances, and we grew stronger as a family. Thank you for being my teammate. This will be tough. My soulmate, and thank you for simply being you. I love you. My kids, 4 kiddos. Thank you for being caring, tough, and resilient, although you have no chance or no choice, it doesn't matter. Thank you for understanding that I teach and coach you hard for a reason. Thank you also for understanding that hard teaching and coaching sometimes happens really, really late at night, since your daughter's the coach. And finally, thank you for understanding, probably the most important thing, that as a Crusader family, we do not allow certain colors in our house. Once again, I'm honored to receive the Brother Schaefer Award. But as I stated earlier, I'm humbled to be mentioned in the same breath as the past recipients. As Mr. Gallagher talked, it's very, very flattering to hear how certain people in our Brother Martin community feel about me. However, none of this would be necessary without all of you that I talked about today, the team. I know I'm lucky to do what I love to do. I really don't feel like I've worked a day in my life, rhetorically speaking. What I mean is that I'm thankful to have the opportunity to interact with and help shape our young men at our school on a daily basis. While I'm there, I simply try to sandwich each negative with 2 positives. I try to emulate a lot of the same actions that positively resonated with me while I was close to our students' age. And I try to treat our students the same way I would want my children treated. I'm truly blessed to call this my profession. In closing, over the last several years, I've become more of a reflective and prayerful person. Since December 2nd, 2019, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is thank God that I'm waking up. Truly. But since reflecting on what I wanted to say today, I continue to thank God every morning, but now in addition to that, I ask God to help me to be as impactful as my head coach and my mentors. And I ask him to be as generous, to help me be as generous and dependable as my friends and family. Once again, thank everybody for coming and for making this day possible. I really appreciate it.